The pre-filed assessment had gone through 3 weeks before we docked, which was fast for the Vethrani registry, but not unusual when a station was this far out. Recommended disposition, decommission and strip. My job was to get there first and confirm. I'm Roe Castle, civilian scout, contract assessor, 17 years of walking into places the registry had already decided were empty. I had no particular feelings about Vethrani assessors. They were precise, methodical, and operated on the sound bureaucratic principle that a thing which had not been recently observed probably did not exist. Two junior catalogers, a structural surveyor, a documentation specialist, and a cultural observer they'd brought along because regulations required a non-Vethrani presence for any site with prior human habitation. That was me. I was the regulation. We docked at HFY at 0340 station time. The lights were on. Vethorak noted this in his recorder without changing expression. The Vethrani do not have faces that suggest surprise. Their light refractive planes shift, angles steepening slightly, which I had learned to read as mild recalibration. He said the lighting system was likely on a timed cycle. He said this with the confidence of a man who has a very good filing system and trusts it completely. I followed them in. The station smelled like recycled air, and something warm. Protein-based, probably from the galley. The corridors were clean. Not abandoned clean, where dust settles evenly over years into a kind of geological record. Maintained clean. whose name translated roughly to Precision of Record 11, was already logging. She moved through the main corridor with a scanning wand, dictating quietly, dormant terminal, non-operational display unit, ambient heat source, likely residual. The ambient heat source was a woman sitting at the monitoring console at the far end of the corridor, drinking something from a steel cup. She did not look up. Precision of Record 11 paused, adjusted her wand, logged, non-personnel presence, ambient, continued. Vethrani did not. He moved past the console without acknowledgement, dictating corridor dimensions into his recorder. The woman at the console took a sip from her cup. Her name badge said Sova, K. Her uniform was worn at the elbows and had a small patch on the left shoulder that I recognized as a compact monitoring corps insignia. 6 years of service, minimum. Her console had 3 active screens. She was making notes in a paper logbook, which was the kind of detail that the Vethrani documentation specialist would have found fascinating if he had been looking at her, which he was not. I considered saying something, decided to wait and see how long the team could maintain the fiction that she wasn't there. As it turned out, Vethrani finished his corridor survey and moved into the medical bay off the main passage, which was where the Vethrani pre-filed assessments typically focused: life support adjacency, equipment status, decommission feasibility. I followed. The medical bay was small, tidy, and fully operational. Every cabinet was labeled. The diagnostic equipment had current calibration stamps. There was a handwritten maintenance schedule pinned to the wall with a date 6 days out. Vethrani looked at the maintenance schedule for a long moment. His light planes shifted. He did not adjust his assessment. He dictated. Equipment present. Condition unclear. Documentation possibly legacy. The handwriting matched the logbook the woman at the console had been writing in. Back in the main corridor, the structural surveyor was logging the load-bearing status of a wall section while standing approximately 1 meter from Sova K, who was still at her console, still making notes, still not looking up. The surveyor moved around her with the careful precision of someone navigating furniture. Logged. Fixed installation. Non-responsive. She reached past him to adjust a dial on her secondary panel. He logged. Environmental drift. Automated correction. Document a fully operational human monitoring station as a derelict. It took them 2 hours and 40 minutes. Vethrani was thorough. I'll give him that. At the end of it, he called us together near the airlock, all 6 of the team, and me, and the non-personnel presence who had apparently decided to come stand at the back of the corridor and lean against the wall with her steel cup. Vethrani said the assessment was complete. He said the station matched the pre-filed derelict classification within acceptable variants. He said recommendation for decommission would be formally submitted within 48 hours, pending one final confirmation. Was there any active operational log on record for this station? He looked at me. I was the cultural observer. I was the regulation. I said I would check. It took me 4 minutes. The station's log terminal was right there. She just finished her entry. She set her steel cup down and moved aside. The log was continuous. 19 months of entries, no gaps, no dormancy periods, environmental readings, equipment checks, transit traffic in the outer margin, compact monitoring reports filed on schedule. The last entry was time-stamped 47 minutes ago. The 14 entries before it covered the past 2 hours and 41 minutes. I scrolled back through them. Entry 1. Docking clamp engagement, unscheduled. 1 Vethrani registry vessel. 6 personnel plus 1 contracted assessor. Entry 2. Team composition logged per visible insignia. Entry 3. Precision of record 11's cataloging wand serial number, noted from the manufacturer's stamp visible when she passed the console. Entry 4 through 13. Room-by-room movement of the assessment team, with timestamps, stated actions per audible dictation, and a running note column that said, in small, even handwriting, Methodology consistent with pre-decommission survey protocol. Vethrani Registry Standard Form, Entry 14, was dated 40 minutes before we had docked. It said, Occupancy Dispute Filed. Compact Registry. HFY Listening Post. Station Classification Derelict Contested. Filing Reference, CVR 4471 HEF. He asked when the most recent entry was. I said 47 minutes ago, and that the entry before that was from 40 minutes before we arrived, and that she had filed a formal occupancy dispute with the compact registry before we had disengaged our docking clamps, using the pre-filed derelict assessment reference number from a document that was not supposed to be available to station personnel. Vethorak's light planes went very flat. This is what the Vethrani look like when they are doing rapid internal calculations, and not enjoying the fun. Said the pre-filed assessments were public record under Compact Transparency Statute 14, had been for 11 years, and she had set up an automated alert for any registry action flagging HFY. She said this the way you say a thing that you have explained before and expect to explain again. I said I thought that was correct. I said I had actually flagged the same statute in a previous assessment, about 4 years back, but the team lead at the time had not found it relevant. There was a long silence. The documentation specialist asked, very quietly, whether the occupancy dispute would hold. I said I was not a registry adjudicator, but the filing had a 19-month continuous log attached, a valid reference number, and had been submitted before the assessment team completed its survey, which was usually the threshold. I said the compact registry would probably want to review it before any decommission order was actioned. I said this might take a while. Vethrani asked Sova K how long she had been on station. She said 22 months. He asked if she had been here when the pre-filed assessment was submitted. She said yes. He asked why she had not contested it when it was filed. She said she had been waiting to see if the team would look at her log before they submitted the final report. She said she had given them 2 hours and 41 minutes. She picked up her steel cup. She said the coffee was still warm if anyone wanted some. Nobody wanted any. The compact registry took 11 days to review the dispute. They found in favor of the occupancy claim. The decommission order was suspended, pending a full operational review, which was rescheduled for 8 months out. Vethrani's pre-filed assessment was amended in the registry, with a notation that read, "Classification revised. Station operational. Prior derelict filing issued in error." I was required to countersign the amendment as the contracted cultural observer. I signed it. Noted the date. Wrote in the comments field, "Log review recommended prior to pre-filed classification. Standard practice. Sova K. Sent me a copy of entry 14 from her logbook as a courtesy, in case it was useful for future reference." It had the filing reference number, the statute citation, and a single line at the bottom that said, 22 months continuous operation. I thought the station was occupied.